Good morning, Real Life Christian Schools. Seems like it's been forever since I've done one of these video devotions for you guys, but I'm back here today. Hopefully you guys are back from your 4-day weekend. Hope you guys had time to relax, enjoy yourselves a little bit. Hopefully you had some time to reflect on why we had Monday off, right? It was MLK Day, and we don't want to just take these holidays off. We want to realize why we take them off. In terms of yesterday, we want to make sure we realize that there was a man who left behind a legacy, Martin Luther King Jr. He left behind a legacy of nonviolence and civil disobedience, which is still a hallmark for change and progress in our country even today. And he stood for civil rights for all people. And so we celebrate his life and his legacy on Martin Luther King Day. And hopefully you guys took some time to reflect and celebrate that yesterday. If not, it's not too late to find out a little bit more about him and why we celebrate that day. You can certainly look that up. You can certainly talk to your teachers about it as well. It's something that's very important for us to realize, again, on any holiday, not that we just get a day off, but that we also find out why we celebrate those days. Okay, let's get to our scripture memorization for this week. Now, this week is the start of 3 weeks of what we call progressive scripture memorization. That means that each week we're going to be adding more verses onto the previous week. So we're starting off with 1 Peter chapter 5, verse 5, and by the end of the 3 weeks, we're going to have a whole chunk of scripture memorized, all the way from 1 Peter chapter 5, verse 5, all the way through verse 9. All right, so this week is just verse 5, starting off nice and simple, and then we'll add a few verses each week for the next 2 weeks. And for the first 2 weeks, we're focusing on the Christian characteristic of humility. And in the third week, we're going to focus on the Christian characteristic of alertness. Okay, but for right now, we're talking about humility, so let's get right into our scripture for this week. It says, "In the same way, you who are younger must accept the authority of the elders. And all of you, address yourselves in humility as you relate to one another. For God oppresses the proud, but gives grace to the humble." Now, as always, I like to give some context for the scriptures that we're memorizing. First of all, we're in the book of 1 Peter. Who wrote the book of 1 Peter? It's pretty obvious. It's actually Peter who wrote the book of 1 Peter. It says so right in the beginning of the book. Peter wrote this probably between the years of 62 and 64 AD, which means it was the time when Nero was emperor of Rome. And Nero did not like Christians. In fact, he was persecuting them, he was killing them, he was arresting them, torturing them. So Nero's in charge. So one of the main themes of 1 Peter is suffering. And as Christians, there are going to be those that oppose us, and we're going to come under suffering at times. And in fact, in chapter 4, right before it gets into chapter 5, the whole theme there is Christian suffering. And so coming out of that theme of Christian suffering, Peter starts to talk to the elders of the church, and starts to tell the elders of the church, specifically people like the pastors, saying, hey, make sure you lead the people by example. Don't lord over them. Don't treat them poorly. Don't treat them like you're their master, but lead them by example. And then goes on to say, in the same way that they're supposed to lead by example, in the same way, you who are younger must also accept the authority of those who are older. And all of us have those around us who are older than we are. And we should respect those people, and we should respect their authority. We should respect the things they say to us. We should respect their wisdom. And so that's the first part of this verse, is we need to respect those who are older than us. Not just in age, but also in terms of authority and in leadership and things like that. The elders mean, sometimes it means exactly that, someone who is older than us. But it also means those who are in authority over us in many different ways. It then says, all of you. That means whether you're an elder, whether you're younger, whether you're young or old, no matter who you are, all of you should dress yourselves in humility as you relate to one another. Humility, that means that we should think of others as better than ourselves. Don't think that we are better than anybody else. In fact, it says dress yourselves in humility. So imagine humility being like this sweatshirt that I'm wearing right now. And I would actually put that on me. If you were to translate that literally from the Greek, this version translated as dress yourselves in humility. But it literally means that you are supposed to take humility and wrap it around you. To tie yourself in humility is what the Greek literally says. To tie yourself in humility. That means it's on tight and snug and you can't get it off. That means you don't treat some people with humility and others not with humility. You treat people with humility at all times, no matter your situation, no matter where you're at. no matter if you're an elder or a younger. Treat others as better than yourself. That means you should be kind to them. You should be gracious to them. You should do things for them that you may not even do for yourself. It then goes on to say, for God opposes the proud but gives grace to the humble. And what Peter's doing there, he's actually quoting a proverb. Proverb chapter 3, verse 34, when he says, God opposes the proud but gives grace to the humble. And when I read out of my translation of the Bible, Proverb 3:34, it says, he mocks those who mock, but gives grace to the humble. To mock somebody, that means to kind of make fun of people. Anybody ever make fun of someone at school? I'm sure we all have at some point or another. But God says don't mock other people. Don't make fun of them. Because to make fun of other people means you're not showing humility to other people. Now, I certainly like to have fun, and I'm certainly not part of the no fun police or anything like that. I like to have fun. And sometimes it's fun to joke around with friends. And when I'm here at my house and I have my friends over at my house, there's all kinds of things we'll joke about. But those same jokes that I joke around with my friends here when I'm at home, those same jokes aren't appropriate when I'm with them at church on Sunday. Because the people around us wouldn't get those jokes. The people around us wouldn't maybe understand that we're just joking. It's a completely different context and a different place. So it might not be okay to tell that same joke when we're at church. Same thing when you guys are at school. When you guys are at home with your brothers and sisters, maybe your friends are at your house, you might joke around about certain things, and that's great, that's fine. But those same jokes when you're at school are not appropriate. It doesn't come across the same because you're in a different environment. So I want you guys to think about that, not just what you say, who you say it to, but the environment that you say it in. The way you behave needs to change based on where you're at and the situation that you're in. It's not always the same in every situation. So think about those things this week. I'm sure your teachers will be talking to you a lot more about these verses, but I want you to think about humility and about how you think about others and not thinking about yourself as being better than others. Other people being better than you. Because if we think of people in that way, we're going to treat them a whole lot better than we treat them on a regular basis. All right, think about those things. Your teachers will be talking about to you about these things more during the week. You'll also hear more about this in chapel on Friday. Hope you guys have a fantastic week. Hope to see all of you real soon. God bless.